Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming to class. We're going to play a little bit with the psoas muscle because it's such an important muscle, and it's really interesting how the psoas can get too tight, get too weak, and how that affects our backs, our hips, all kinds of things. So I find it's one of my favorite muscles. I don't know why. But if you, let's go ahead and start by just centering before I go into the nerdy anatomy lecture about where the psoas is. So find yourself in a nice, comfortable spot and feel your alignment. Feel the crown of the head pressing up toward the ceiling and the tailbone pressing down toward the floor ever so gently. Maybe a little bit of tone to the belly, but not a hard hold here. And as you close your eyes, maybe take a breath in for the count of 4 and a breath out for the count of 4. So let it be your count. You can count quickly, you can count slowly. But as other thoughts come into your mind, realize that you have stopped counting and come back to the breath. So just ever so gently inhaling, count of 4. And exhaling. And keep that going. This is a simple, balanced breath. And later I'm going to send out a video on, it's a video about breathing. And this is one of the ones that he talks about. And he talks about this breath being like water. You want to drink water all day long. It's good for you. It's a very healthy habit. And he said, focusing on this even breath in, even breath out throughout the day, softening the belly on the inhale and drawing it back in on the exhale is something that you want to come back to every day, all day. So breathing in, exhaling out. And in. Good. Let's do 3 more rounds here, everyone. When you're done with your 3rd round, go ahead and open the eyes. And let's get ready to lay down on our mats, but I want to start this explanation of the psoas muscle by sitting up. So if you think about this psoas muscle, it's amazing. It's a really long muscle. And if you were sitting up and your knees were bent and you put one finger on the inside of your thigh, there's a little bone here called the lesser trochanter, and it sticks out a little bit, and the psoas muscle attaches to that bone at the inner thigh. And don't worry about it being exactly in the right spot, but just get the idea, right, of inner thigh. And then imagine, here, let me sit forward. So here's your, right, that muscle of the inner thigh. Then imagine that the rest of that psoas muscle goes deep into the belly. It attaches to the lumbar vertebra, and it comes all the way up to the lowest thoracic rib, T12, and fingers out some tendrils to the diaphragm. So if you think about how long this muscle is and how deep it is, and there's a lot more detail to it than that. So I want you to imagine that and, you know, try to picture that, and then lay down on the floor and bend your knees, or just bend one knee, and place a finger on that inner thigh. And then stretch, bring the knee up tight enough that you can touch kind of that bottom rib, or where the diaphragm ends, right below the ribs, and feel how long that is. And then imagine if you tried to straighten your leg, right? It's so long that it would take two hands, finger to finger, you know, end to end, to try to find that whole muscle. So it's really a kind of cool, long, deep core muscle. And it can get tight. It gets tight when we sit, it gets tight when we walk and jog. Anytime we bring those knees up toward chest, or we bring the torso toward the knees, right? We are using the psoas muscles. So there you have it. You can picture that now. So if you close your eyes, don't worry about the hands, and just imagine this amazing muscle sending little tendrils out to the diaphragm, which means when we breathe, we affect the psoas, going down along the spine to the inside of the pelvic bones, and then out to the inner thigh. And then straighten the right leg. Tone the belly just a little bit and bend the right knee, bring it toward chest, and straighten it out. So using that psoas muscle, it is main function is a hip flexor, right? A hip flexor. So we bring it in, press it out, don't worry about it. Just try to imagine this inner thigh to upper belly, deep muscle working here. Just one more. And then bring the right knee to your chest, take the hands behind your knee, straighten the leg up to the ceiling, point your toes, really stretch out the front of your leg. Breathe, and then a big flex of your foot. And lower that leg down. Good, bend your right knee, let that foot stay on the floor, draw your left knee to your chest. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna straighten the leg and bring it in toward chest. Trying to tap into this idea of feeling how the body works, right? Noticing that we bring the knee in, it tightens the psoas, right? Or we tighten the psoas and it brings the knee in. And we just try to imagine. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to know exactly where it inserts and originates. You're just checking it out. Next time your left knee is into your chest, hold, take the hands behind the thigh, press the leg up toward the ceiling, point your toes, really stretch, whoo, calf cramp there. Stretch the toes up toward the ceiling, and then a big flex, big flex. Good, release, bend the knee, have both legs straight along the floor. Good, and from this position, just squeeze the heck out of your butt. Like just good squeeze, active muscles, hips, glutes, and release. Two more big squeezes. And exhale, release, good. One more big squeeze. And let go. And then leave your right foot on the floor and tone the belly and lift the left leg. Again, using the psoas, hold here. Don't worry about how far the leg goes up. Point the toe, flex the toes, and lower down. Other side, press down through the left heel. Lift the right leg. Woo, good, point, and flex, and lower down. Good, bend both knees, bring them up toward your chest. Roll over to one side. And stay on that side. So make your head neck comfortable. I'm going to keep my head up a little bit because of these earbuds. So you can take the head down so it's resting on your arm. You can also use a block, which can be really nice. So bend the knees, but then straighten the top leg. Tone the belly here. And I want you to bring the leg forward and see if you can tap your big toe. And then lift it up in a little half circle and press back and try to tap the heel. So just simple little bit of internal rotation and then external rotation. The rest of you is comfortable, I hope. Don't worry about how high you bring the leg. Just see if you can tap toe and then tap heel. Yep, just 2 more. Tap and heel. Good, last one. Tap your toe and tap the heel. Now, when you tap the heel, the toes are pointing straight up toward the ceiling. I want you to take the leg straight up to the ceiling. See if you can have a nice straight-ish leg and then push down strongly through the leg that's on the floor. Good, nice tone to the belly, everybody. 1, you're here. 2, you're gonna bend the knee, or 3, bend the knee and do what we're gonna do, or 3, keep the leg straight. And you're gonna see if you can slowly lower it down toward the hip, right? And then back up again. So toward the hip probably isn't along that hip line, but toward the floor. Woo! Yeah, baby. Good, let's do 3 more if we can. If you bend the knee, this is easier, working with the outer hip here. And 4, breathe. Last one, bring it down, squeeze it up. Good, turn the toes so they're pointing toward your shoulder. Lower it down, turn the toes until it's facing forward and release that leg. Oh, sweet, sweet, sweet. Good, keep the knee bent, lift the whole knee complex, right? So from ankle to knee, from knee to hip, and just give me 10 baby pulses. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, I know, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, straighten the leg, and then press the leg back, point the toes. You're gonna toe the belly so that you don't dump the hip forward. Try to keep the hips stacked and just press the leg straight back. What are we doing here, right? We are stretching psoas. If you can drop a toe toward the floor, this leg is behind my other leg. You're gonna get into the psoas just a little bit more. And then finally, if you wanna take that top arm overhead and breathe. Nice, release everything, everybody. And we're gonna switch sides. So I'm just gonna turn around. Laying on the opposite side, we start with the knees bent so that we're comfortable. Make sure your head and neck are comfortable as well. And then straighten the top leg. So we're gonna bring the leg forward, we're gonna tap the toe. We're gonna bring it back, tap the heel. Yep. And you don't have to touch the floor. I should have said this on the other side, right? If your leg doesn't go back and tap heel, don't worry about it, right? Just bring it back and behind and flex that foot and then bring it forward and tap the toe. No worries, don't worry, be happy. Breathe. That's it, couple more, just a couple more. Working with the hip joint, working with the hip muscles. And last one here. And then bring the leg straight out. Good, I want you to turn the toes up to the ceiling and lift that leg up toward the ceiling. Hold. Now, what do we do with this other leg, right? We're grounding that leg into the floor to help with balance. When you're ready, if you're ready, you're either gonna bend this knee or you're gonna leave the leg straight and you're gonna slowly take it toward the floor and straight back up again. Oh yeah, this is tough work, everybody, right? It's tough, so don't forget to breathe. Maybe a smile, maybe you bend the knee for 1 or 2. We only have 2 left. Find that energy. Woo! Last one. Holy moly, take it up. Good, the toes are pointing toward the shoulder. Lower, turn the toes so they're facing forward and lean that leg back. Try not to drop that top hip. Point the toes. Maybe you touch the toes down to the floor. And maybe you take that other arm overhead. And I realized I forgot our little pulses, so we're gonna come back to that. We can't forget, we'll be all lopsided. Breathe. Good, release, bend both knees, take that top knee off the bottom for a moment, and then 10 little pulses. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower it down, everybody. And then come on up to a seat. Woo! Right? So, good work, effective work. Grab one of your blocks and you're going to take that block between your legs up at the highest level. And then you're going to lean back with your knees bent. So, this is a really bizarre variation of boat pose. We're going to play here a little bit. So as you lean back, just don't slouch, okay? Bring the shoulders back, keep the chest lifted. How you have your hands doesn't matter to me as long as it feels okay on your wrists. So you're just going to tap one foot and down, tap the other foot down. This is the easy part. This is where we start. We're working with core and tap. Tap one more just like this. And down. So if that was challenging, if you felt that belly working a bit, maybe you stay there. Otherwise, you draw those shoulders back, you press through the elbows, and you find the balance point for 2 heel tap and out. 2, 3, I know, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo, straighten the legs. That is psoas work, my darlings, right? We're keeping those knees bent, so we're keeping the psoas contracted, and then we're moving the legs. That's a whole bunch of psoas happening there. And some nice core, right? The psoas is a core muscle, right? It's deep within the belly. All right, so 1, you're doing single taps. 2, you're leaning back, doing double. 3, no hands, okay? And then we're gonna be done with that part. So you decide, how's it feel for you? Try a couple with no hands. If you feel like you're starting to slouch or lean back, you let that go and put the hands back. All right, so here we go. Here we go. I have to talk myself into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, woo, 6, I know, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and straighten the legs. Nice job, everybody. You're gonna hang on to that block. It's gonna be, let's take it over to the, if I'm mirroring you all here, take it toward the right leg. Lean back. All you're gonna do is step over and back. Yep, step over and back. Hands, no hands. 4, 5, I know. 6, 7, 8, woo, 9, and 10. Holy moly, sit up nice and tall. You know, I guess if it's any consolation, you're not doing it alone. Just think of all our other yogis out there hanging in there and doing it with us. All right, hands, no hands, you know, right? If you're slouching, you got all this happening, just take the hands behind it. It's awesome. All right, here we go. So 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 5, yep. 6, hold the belly. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Ooh, nice job, everyone. Set that block aside. Stay nice and wide with those legs. All I want you to do is move the flesh out from the sit bones, press the hands behind, flex the feet, and breathe. And then slide the legs together, bend one knee, let that knee go out to the side, Janu Sirsasana. Inhale the arms up. Nice little swan dive forward. And then release the hands, pull the shoulders back. Lengthen through your torso, right? So I never think about, not for a long time anyway, I never think about my knee. I never think about trying to get my head down on my knee, all that stuff. I want length. I want to stay at the height that I am for as long as I can. So I want length in my torso. So that's where we're going. Draw the shoulders back. Imagine that the nose, right, can head toward your toes instead of your head down to your knee. And just see where your body takes you. Right? We're not here to impress anybody else. We are here to figure out our bodies, and through that, our minds, our hearts. Breathe. Good, wherever you are, come on up, roll the shoulders back. No hands, lift that knee, press it out in front of you, set it down gently, and go to the other side. And when you're ready, inhale, take it up. Exhale, swan dive first. That just helps keep everything open, and then let the hands come to the floor. Honor this side. Always for me, my right side is tighter. If I try to go to the same depth on this side that I do the other side, it's just not going to feel good. So I have to be a little more patient with this side of my body, right? Tough for me. I'm not particularly patient as a yogi and as a teacher and as a human being, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So we feel what we feel. I'm not going to go for the knee. I'm going to reach this torso nice and long and see if I can find that sweet stretch along the hamstring, the back of our leg. Just breathe. And release. Nice job, everybody. Straighten both legs, flex both feet, hands to your sides, Dandasana. Easy, easy. I know you all love Dandasana now. I have worked on this, and now we love it, right? Arms up, optional. Leg up, say hello to psoas and quadriceps. Maybe optional, don't have to do it. Lower that leg down, get even taller, and lift the other leg. Breathe, and lower, get taller still. Exhale, release. And we are done with that. So come on to table pose. If you need a blanket under your knees, go ahead and take the time to do that. Always take the time to take care of your body. Have your blocks near the front of your mat and find table pose. And once you're in table pose, press the right leg back, tone in through the belly, lift the leg. But instead of our normal flex, I want you to point the toes, right? And just feel the stretch along the front ankle and feel the engagement of that little calf muscle. Tone the belly if you're still okay. Lift and reach with the left arm. Breathe. That's it. Balancing table, and then flex the foot, reach the left arm back. Nice open chest. You got this. Good. Point the toes, reach the arm forward, and release. Lower the knee, lower the hand, shake it out. Stretch back if that makes sense for you. And then come on up. Tone in through the belly, press your left leg back. Good. Here we are, same thing, other side. Lift the leg, engage the glutes, take the right arm out. Point your toes, everybody. Breathe. So when we're doing balancing table, we're looking mostly down at our yoga mat. Try not to look up at the wall in front of you. That's a whole bunch of cranking on that neck. And then flex your foot, reach the arm back. Keep the belly tone here, keep that heel reaching back. And then point, reach forward. Release. And let go. Shake it out. Maybe stretch back for a moment. Take some of that weight off your wrists. Come on up. Table pose. Flip your toes under. Lift your knees just an inch or 2 or 3. Should feel comfortable. If this hurts your toes, knees are back down, okay? Good. So breathe here. Optionally, see if you can lift one foot off the floor, a little more core work. Breathe. Set that foot down, lift the other foot. Hold in through the belly. Lower, press your chest toward your thighs and begin to straighten those legs. Once you've straightened those legs into downward facing dog, pedal one foot and then the other. And let's just stretch out the back of the legs. Remember all the work that we did last class, by the way, on shoulder integrity. So if you are not doing that, firm up through the upper shoulders, through the side muscles of your upper back. And then everyone inhale, tippy toes. Exhale down to the floor. Press back into a very active child's pose. That's probably an oxymoron, right? Active child's pose. And then come on up. Step forward with your right foot. Once you have that right foot forward, go ahead and grab your blocks and take them underneath your hands. Actually, I'll turn around so we can stay on the same side. But I want you to focus on not what's happening so much on the right, but what's happening on the left, right? So, one of the ways to stretch psoas is to come into a low lunge. And you might feel the stretch along the front of your left thigh, right? You're also stretching some of the quadricep muscles as well. But I find it interesting that while we stretch, we don't want to overstretch. And I think that makes sense to you, right? Because I could probably get to a point where my hip is close to the floor, but all that's going to do is overstretch the muscle and do nothing for what I'm looking for, which is that length of muscle. Just going to compromise it, in my humble opinion. So if I'm here in a lunge, I'm stretching the front thigh, but I'm engaging the back glute so that I can feel, again, this word that keeps coming back is that integrity of the muscle. I'm not just kind of dropping all my weight into the anterior hip joint. So just want to stretch it out. And then bring both hips back a little bit. Take your hands to your knee and bring the back knee into a 90-degree angle. So if your hip goes straight down to the knee and then knee to foot. Then tuck the pelvis. So now we're getting a little more deep dive into psoas. Feeling a little bit deeper stretch through here. If you're still not, take the torso back just a little bit. Take the left arm up. Stretch over toward the right just a little. And we are giving a big stretch to psoas. Deep breath, everyone. And you'll notice, right, that connection to diaphragm. If you take a big exhale, you'll feel they get a little tighter through the deep belly. There you have it. Breathe, everyone. And then release that stretch. Hands come to your blocks. Straighten your back leg and just hold. So we're taking that stretch out of that and just bringing it back to neutral. If you're comfortable, step back to plank and then step forward with your left leg. Bend the knee, drop that right knee to the floor. And here we are on the other side. And even with your blocks, as long as you're not moving around, you can take the blocks up high, right? That might feel good to you. You might be saying, what is she talking about overstretching? I'm so tight here, there's no chance to overstretch, right? Could be absolutely true. Engage your back glute, tone through the lower belly a little bit so that the stretch on the right side is purposeful. Breathe. And then press both hips back a little bit. All we're doing is taking the pressure off that stretch. Take your hands to your knee. Bring the back leg into a 90-degree angle. And then tuck the pelvis just a little bit and see if you can feel the stretch along this back leg. If not, just move the torso away a little bit. You might feel it then. And then right arm up, a slight side bend. Again, drawing into that deep belly muscle. As you exhale, you may feel that a little bit more. Nice. Take both arms up. Exhale them down to the blocks. Move your blocks out of the way. Lift your right knee. Step the left leg back so that you are back in plank pose. Breathe. How's plank feeling today, everybody? Find your pose. Squeeze those legs. Lift the hips to downward facing dog. Spread through your fingers. Feel the upper shoulders externally rotate. Feel the latissimus muscles, those side upper back muscles get fired up and happy, supporting this pose. And then inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, lower the knees to the floor. Step forward with your right leg. Grab your blocks again. This time, if it's okay with you, lift the left knee. Now imagine you're squeezing a block between your upper inner thighs. Just imagine that and draw the thighs toward each other. With that knee lifted, I just want you to bend it a little bit and see how that feels. If you can hold that, nothing hurts. Hands come to knee, lift your torso. So if this is like no way, no how, drop that left knee to the floor and come back to that 90-degree angle. This one way more active. Squeeze your back glute. Lift your torso. Left arm up, slightly over to the side. Watch your balance here. Oh yeah, baby. And breathe. And then exhale, slowly lower down to your blocks. If you can, step back to plank pose. Use your breath, use your core. And when you're ready, step forward, left leg. Once again, knee down, knee up. You choose for you today, right? And then bend the back knee some. And feel that, squeeze that imaginary beach ball, or sorry, imaginary block between your legs. The beach ball will be tougher. Hands come to knee, lift your torso, back knee is bent, taking that torso as much straight up as possible. The right arm goes up, slight bend to the side. I know this is tricky, got a whole lot going on. Big deep breath. And then release, hands come to your block. Take the blocks aside, step back to plank. Oh, plank pose. Breathe, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Downward facing dog. Take the feet wide. Oh, that probably feels better. Hold on to that imaginary beach ball. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to last class, which was last Sunday, and see, we're holding on to that beach ball. I always picture mine, you know, that multicolored one. I don't know why. And then walk those hands back very much on purpose to your feet. Square the feet so they're pointing straight ahead. Press the knees to the outer edges, and then come on up to standing. That's it, right? Woo! Feel that. It feels so good. So what was interesting about that funky lunge we did is that not only were we stretching the back leg, but we were engaging the front leg. So if you stand in just a traditional mountain pose, let me catch my breath. You're standing in a traditional mountain pose and you shift the weight to one leg, put your hand right at the hip crease of your other and just lift the leg. Okay, that lift of the leg is working your psoas muscle because that is flexing the hip, right? So just do that, whoop, do that a couple of times, just lift up and down. I'm putting just a slight amount of pressure on my hand to leg, just a couple. And then release it and go to the other side. Find that stability in the standing leg, and then just lift and lower a few times, maybe 4 or 5 times. And get a sense of the power of that muscle, right? And release it, good. And then come back to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands come down to the floor, soften the knees and step back, right leg, but don't take it a big step. You're gonna step back and then just drop that heel to the inside. We're looking at warrior one. So I'm gonna press strongly through the back leg, and then I'm gonna take my hands to my knee. I'm gonna lift my chest. Don't use the arms yet, just get the legs. Woo! So, front leg right forward, knee bent. What are we doing? Psoas muscle. Back leg, more or less straight, stretching psoas in the back. Inhale, reach up. Warrior one, super powerful pose. Engage the back leg, engage the back glute. Don't over-engage either. We don't want to shorten the muscles so much. We just want the muscles to be active in our practice. Find your breath, everybody. And then imagine that somebody's poking your belly, right? Just poke it in a little bit. And then take the arms back up and find your breath. Good. Release those hands down to the floor. Either you're gonna just switch sides, which means you're gonna step forward, step back, or let's just go to down dog. Beautiful, beautiful. To plank. Breathe. Knees down, optional. Chaturanga. Low Cobra. Low, low, low. Down dog. Yeah, don't forget to breathe, everyone. And then step forward with your right leg. I have to remember which side. For me, from lunge to warrior one is too long, so I shorten my pose a little bit. I'm going to drop the back heel. Hands come to knee. Lift your torso. Good. Find your pose here. Engage the back glutes. Inhale, reach the arms up. That's it. Just breathe. Yeah. So did you notice one side to the other side? If one side is tighter, like for me, this side, woo, so much tighter. Holy moly. I can feel it. Remember to poke the belly in just a little. That's going to deepen the stretch. Find your breath. Good. Exhale, hands down. Hands down. Downward facing dog, everybody. Lower your knees to the floor. Maybe take the knees wide on your mat and come on down for a less active child's pose. Find your breath. That's it. Come back to the 4 count breath, where you're counting in for 4 and out for 4. Good, 2 more, just like that. Good, last one. Good. Notice how that felt balancing. Bring the knees back together. Come back to table pose. Back to downward facing dog. Take the feet wide on your mat. Walk the hands back. Bend your knees, hands to knees, and come on up. Roll it out, roll it out, roll it out. Good. So, blocks to the front of your mat. Both of them up on high. Left foot stays forward. Right foot goes back. This time quite a ways back. So if you were in a lunge or a warrior two stance, that's what we're looking for. But this time I want you to straighten the front leg, triangle pose, and engage the back glute. We never think about those things, right? But if you play with your poses with and without muscle engagement, I think you're gonna find that as we engage the muscles, they hug into the bones get stronger, we get stronger. We got a plan, right? So front hand to front thigh. I teach triangle, I like to teach triangle this way. As you slide this hand down, stop above the knee, check out what you're doing with your torso, right? Are you already starting to tilt forward? If you are, you come up higher. If this stance is too long for you, bring it in a little bit. Otherwise, I want you to go below the knee, just barely. Even if you can touch your fingers to the floor in triangle. And then tone in through the belly. Rotate the ribs, rotate the shoulder, press through the back leg, right? And just notice as we start to lower maybe a little bit more, can you stay in integrity in this pose? Like you're not struggling. Keep your back hand or your top hand at your hip. If you're not struggling, you can lift the hand off the leg for a moment and then put it back down. If you're struggling, you have so much weight here that when you take it off, you just collapse. So that's where I want you to play. Nice tone to the belly, hand stays on the hip. See if you can lift that other hand off the floor. And then raise that arm up, raise it up, raise it up, raise it up. Slide the hand down your thigh and reach over. Really strong legs here. Find that breath. And then bend your front knee. Warrior two. Activating the psoas, tone the belly in, find your breath. Good. And then cartwheel those hands to your blocks, straighten your front leg. Straighten your back leg so all the toes are pointing forward. Hold here, keep your hands on your blocks and bend your back knee. So it's like you're a runner, right, at a running meet. And you're gonna take off from the running block. I don't know if those are the right words, but you get the idea. Working these legs super hard here. And then straighten the legs, watch your blocks when they're up high, they get wobbly. Step forward, bend both knees and just come up to standing. Oh, shake it all out, everybody. I'm just gonna switch sides so I don't have my back to you. So standing mountain pose, engage the glutes a little bit, fire up the legs, lift and open that heart. And just feel how tall you're starting to feel, right? I walk in the park and I always see some ladies walk by and they're all hunched forward. I want to say, stand up. I love you, stand up. All right, so when you're ready, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands down. You're gonna step back with your left leg and you're gonna bring it this time to a much longer position, right? So that warrior two, more or less stance, and then take the arms up or take the body up. What I love about warrior two and triangle, same legs. Same legs and same torso alignment, right? So we straighten the front leg, we fire up the back leg. Back hand stays on the hip, front hand goes to your thigh. Watch that hyperextension if you tend to go back too far. And then slide down, just stay above the knee for a moment and check out your body, check out your torso, what's it doing? Right, what happens in triangle the most is in our desire to reach, we round. So less reach, less rounding, okay? If you're still okay, go below the knee. Hold your pose, the ribs roll forward, the shoulder rolls forward, the hand stays on the back hip, and then tone the belly, see if you can take the hand off the floor. Right, core work, press through the back leg. Hand back down, open it up. Maybe you go a little bit lower, maybe not. Hand off the leg, how's that feel? Take the arm all the way up, slide the back hand down as you lift up. Either you're looking at the ceiling or you're looking down, but with the straight leg, it's a little bit more challenging than Exalted Warrior where the front knee's bent. Good, release. Bend your front leg. Warrior 2, use your breath. Cartwheel those arms forward. Find your blocks. Straighten your back toes. Bend your back knee. Hold. Just breathe. If you look down at that back knee and it's out to the side or doing something funky, see if you can just keep it neutral. So it's hanging down to the floor like a little grape. Good. And then walk the blocks forward. Step forward. Bend the knees. Grab one block with you. Stand up. Find your pose. Shake it all out. Take that block between your knees and give it a good squeeze. I like this a lot. I do this a lot now. After I've done poses where the legs are apart, especially if the hips are not square, I'll come back with the block and kind of reset everything. Just breathe, everybody. All right, good job. Release that. Blocks go back to the front of your mat. Now, all of this will be optional, so you decide for you. You're going to take those hands to your blocks. I'll put the pretty side out. And you're going to step back with your right foot, not too far. And you're going to bend both knees, just like we did before, just a second ago. So check the knees, they're in good alignment. Hold the belly. One, you're here. This is a whole bunch of work. You're staying right here. Otherwise, the hands come to your knee, getting harder. The chest starts to lift, right? Squeeze that imaginary block. Release the hands and take them up. So we are asking a bunch of the muscles here. When the muscles hug the bone builds, okay? Yoga is amazing for osteoporosis issues. We're doing weight-bearing exercise. If you can't tell, my back leg is doing a little shake. Woo, good, hands to the blocks. Woo, walk the blocks forward just so you don't go overshoot it and step forward. Just hang out here for a moment, little forward fold. Breathe. We are powerful. We are powerful women, mostly the women who watch or do class with me, and men if you're watching too, right? So we're powerful. We gotta own it. We gotta own it. Walk the shoulders away. Find your pose. One, you're here, right? Two, hands to knee. Three, the chest lifts. Make sure you feel stable. Four, the arms come up. And just hang out for a moment. Just see, what are you asking of your muscles? Too much, too little? Yep, working with all kinds of stuff going on in psoas, hips, legs. Release hands to blocks. Walk those blocks forward. Woo! And then walk the blocks forward as much as your arms will reach. Soft, soft knees, forward fold. Breathe. Long torso. You got it. Good. Bend the knees. Walk the blocks back, everybody. And come on up to standing. Good. And then from standing, and you might want to be near a wall or a piece of furniture, just so you can feel more stable. All you're going to do is step the left toes back, right? And then press both hips forward, and then see if you can lift the leg. So let's stretch, challenging for some. Nothing else to do here. One finger to a wall is awesome. And release. Other side, just step back. Find your balance, toe to the floor. You can even stay here. or lift the leg back. If you lift too high, you go out of the psoas and you go into the body, right? You don't want to do that. Keep the torso upright. And breathe. And release. Shake it out. Good job, everybody. I'm going to grab a quick drink of water. And we're going to come down to the floor. So hang on, don't go there without me. You can set your blocks aside. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Step back, downward facing dog. Optionally here, just because it feels good, if you want to lift the leg, bend the knee, stretch out through the psoas. And then release that side and lift the other. We're going to stretch, don't sweat. And release. Good, lower your knees. Maybe a little chaturanga to the floor. Come to Sphinx pose. Sphinx pose. Lengthen through your legs, right? Hold in through the belly. I always think about just trying to move these low ribs away from the floor a little bit. Tops of the feet are active. And breathe. And imagine that psoas again. So if you sway a little to one side, you might feel a nice belly stretch on that side. And then you sway to the other side. And you might feel a belly stretch there. If you don't worry, right? It's maybe subtle for some, might be really a strong stretch for others. Don't overdo it. Just sway a little one side, sway a little the other. Come back to the center and release all the way down to the floor. Shake out those hips a little. Come back to Sphinx pose. Now, you're going to stay here. This is enough of a back bend for you. And you're going to do that little exploration again. You're going to sway a little side to side. Or you're going to take your hands out to the corners of your mat and lift the elbows off the floor. I just ask you to not scrunch up into your ears. Try to drop the shoulders and then be willing to play. See if you can find, I like to move my hands all over the place to stretch my belly, stretch the deep core muscles. Don't feel like your low back is going to be irritated. If it does, just going too far. So just play. Maybe you move the hands one way. Maybe you move them the other way. Find your breath. Good. And then lower all the way down. This time I want you to keep the head down. You can either rest your chin on your hands or you can rest your forehead on your hands. I'm going to keep my chin up so that I can talk. And then lengthen through your belly, press down into the pubic bone and lift one leg. Just one leg. Again, hip extension is glute activation. So we're extending the front of the hip. We're engaging the back of the hip or the glute muscles. So when we walk, right, if our glutes aren't working, we're extending but not using the muscles designed to help us with that. Lower that one down, lift the other. Breathe, try to keep both hips down. And lower. Good. Keep one block where you can reach it. And then roll over onto your back. Nice and easy, gentle, gentle, all the way back. First things first, grab your block, place it between your thighs. Give that block a good squeeze. And just breathe. Good. Release the block for now. Your feet are on the floor. Your knees are straight ahead. Your feet are pointed straight ahead. Take your hands down to the sides. Roll the shoulders back to the floor. Lift your hips off the floor. All right, so front hip extension, front hip stretching. Slight glute activation here. If you over squeeze, you crunch the lower back here. So bridge pose. Your hands are either flat on the floor, they're grabbing the sides of your mat, or I don't know about, I see a lot of people put their hands under their glutes. Not a huge fan, but you can bring them underneath and interlace. But then notice, right, if we can lengthen the tailbone and press the shins forward, right? So the knees and the shins actually move forward, not back. The hips extend, the thighs stretch, and then lower with your butt first, your behind first, and then relax the rest of your spine and pause. Big deep breath. Good, let's do that one again. So feet to the floor, lengthen your tailbone, lift your hips off the floor, relax the upper body best you can. Press the shins forward. Imagine that you were going to press those shins up against a wall. The hips rise up, the arms can reach underneath and interlace, but that's optional. Breathe, press through the feet. If your hands are underneath, release, butt down first. Release your torso and breathe. This time I want you to grab your block, keep it on the low setting, and take it underneath your hips. So underneath your sacrum, let's be really clear. Most of you have done this class, done a class with me for a long time. If you put your hands on those hip bones on the pelvis, right? Your block should be below that. Please don't have it in your low back anywhere. You should feel sturdy, stable, and comfortable on your block. Draw your right knee toward your chest. You don't have to hold it. And then mindfully straighten your left leg. Once you straighten the left leg, I want you to completely, fully relax that leg. The upper body soft and comfortable, and just pause here. Now, for a lot of us, this is a subtle psoas stretch. If you kind of rub deep into that belly, you might be able to feel it a little bit. Just let it stretch. Let gravity take the pose. I see a lot of folks that'll go second level, and I'll do that sometimes. But I think with the psoas, you don't want to overstretch. I like this really passive stretch here. If I can just relax, come back to that 4-count breath, and let the left leg be as comfortable and soft and relaxed as possible. The psoas will do what it can do. It will stretch where it can. Breathe. Four counts in and 4 counts out. I want you to slowly bend the left knee until that foot is on the floor. And then lower your right foot until it's on the floor. Both knees are bent. When you're ready, draw the left knee toward chest. Again, you don't need to hold it unless you're more comfortable doing that. Once your left knee is toward your chest, go ahead and straighten the right leg. Relax both feet, relax both legs. And here we are again on the other side. Maybe you notice a difference, maybe not. 4 count breath in, 4 count breath out. Try to soften best you can. When you're ready, bend the right knee, put that foot on the floor, release the left. Press into both feet, lift your hips, take the block out, and slowly lower your back, 1 vertebra at a time. Extend the left leg up to the ceiling, externally rotate it. Bend the knee, put your left ankle above your right knee, bring those knees toward your chest. And again, you might discover that you don't have to hold on to the legs. Some of you might like to weave those hands through the leg and hold, but it's not always that less is more, but in a way, less is more, right? If we can feel the stretch on the hip here, we know we're doing it. And you might want to try something that's kind of neat. If your left ankle is on the right knee, imagine taking the right ankle toward the left knee. So it's a weird variation of firelog pose. You're not forcing anything to come together. You're keeping the hips squared, so you're keeping the hips at equal distance. And you're just bringing the right shin in a little toward the left knee. You might feel a deeper stretch there. And then release that side. Straighten the left leg just for a second. And then bend that knee. Take the right leg up to the ceiling. Externally rotate the leg. Bring the ankle to the knee. Bring the knees toward your chest. And again here, just maybe explore, maybe rock a little side to side. Maybe bring the left shin toward the right knee without skewing the hips. Soften the whole upper body. Just let it relax. Soften the back toward the floor. And release that shin in if you are. And then release the pose. Straighten the right leg for a moment. And then bend the knees. Last one here. Shift your hips over to the right edge of your mat. Draw the knees to your chest. Let's come into a nice spinal twist here. You can always use your block between your knees or underneath the knees to lessen. Right? You can even take it up pretty high so that you're not going into such a deep twist if that's not appropriate for you. But then widen the back body, soften everything. Relax your jaw. Maybe you can picture that sweet little psoas from the inner thigh through the deep belly, all the way up to the 12th rib. Touching, reaching out to the diaphragm so that the psoas affects the breath. breath affects the diaphragm, which affects the psoas. Breathe. We realize it's all connected. We're all connected. When you're ready, let those knees come back to center. The hips shift through center over to the left edge of your mat. The knees come back toward chest, and then they release over to the right. The back body widens. The shoulders are soft and comfortable. The head is neutral. So breathe. One more deep breath here. The knees to center. Hips back to center. Optionally here, if you have access to your 2 blocks, because we've done so much stretching and strengthening of the psoas, the blocks can either go, I like this version the best, right underneath the thighs, right where the glutes meet, and then the legs straighten. But some of you might like them closer to the knees. That might feel better for you. In either case, the hips, the glutes are on the floor, the shoulders are relaxed, the palms go face up. And we let the legs go, we let the hips, legs, everything go there, and we find our Shavasana. And in Shavasana, if you can make the exhale longer than the inhale, body will move deeper into that pose. So maybe a 4 count in, and an 8 count out, if you can. Feel yourself getting deeper and deeper into your Shavasana. Soften even more. Those of you who are ready, felt like a very short Shavasana. Start to wiggle your toes and your fingers. If you want to stay in Shavasana, just stay. It is all right. Slowly bend your knees. Take your knees to your chest. Rock side to side, curl over to fetal pose. Take a nice deep breath in and a deep exhale out. And then press yourself up, coming to your seated pose. Once you're there, bring your hands to your heart. Know that you are strong, you are powerful, you are amazing. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody.